Welcome back. So today I want to talk about the most dynamic aspect of our nutrition, which is training nutrition, the use of sports nutrition products. And so this is out of behind me here is the top amateur nutrition article that we published recently. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but I want to focus on just this one section about training nutrition. So if you'll remember, when I did the doubly labeled water studies to check my burn at a peak week as well as a low week, the delta wasn't very big. It was an average of 3,500 calories a day on my low week and 4,000 calories a day on my high week. And the difference between those two weeks was an average of 2 hours of training a day. So my burn was going down much less than the mechanical work that I was performing on the training. So there was like this gap. So if I was adjusting my intake down by the work that I thought I wasn't doing, I wouldn't be eating enough. That was the topic of an earlier video a couple weeks ago. Now, today though, we've got this 500 calories a day extra requirement when we're in these higher training weeks. 500 calories a day, 7 days a week, 3,500 calories of primarily sports nutrition. Because remember, we want to set at that bottom week, we want to make that week our core nutrition. So that's going to be real food spread across the day with balanced macros. The article gave you ideas for how to split the macros as well as ideas on percentages between them if you're into that kind of thing. We recommend you go with what works for you and pay attention to the guidelines in terms of certain minimums in a protein sense, as well as certain maximums from a fat, specifically a saturated fat point of view. But here, back to that 3,500 calories a week. Now, you'll quickly find that if you ramp up your training and you start drinking a ton of liquid sports nutrition, you're going to start gaining weight. And why is that? Well, my testing showed it's because my energy requirement for whatever reason is not going up in line with the increase in mechanical work. So I need to be strategic with my use of sports nutrition. So what's that mean? Strategic. So what are the things that I need to train with my sports nutrition? Well, we touched on it here in the article. So first thing is I need to train energy uptake for my race, meaning my gut and my body needs to be used to taking those products up at a high rate when I am exercising at race-specific intensities. So that's something that needs to be built into the plan, not necessarily in winter and not necessarily in early base training. The other thing is on our long days, we don't want to come out of those long days seriously depleted. So that's a good time to be using the sports nutrition. So to fuel ourselves across our long days. That's another time that we need to do it. And then finally, when we're in peak training and we're having to back up sessions, AM, PM, AM, or even 3 days in a row or 5 days if you're a very heavy trainer or you're on a camp. Generally speaking, I don't go much beyond 3 loading days in a row, but I know some of you do. You string together many days. In those days, you don't want to be starting tomorrow depleted by today. So the sports nutrition products and staying on top of your nutrition will let you have a much better block of training. And when training is the number one focus, if you're going to make a mistake, I would say overfuel a little bit rather than underfueling. Specifically, if you're at a training camp, you can always trim and sort the nutrition after camp rather than in camp. When you're in a focus block, training is number one. So don't be skimping on your intake. But the rest of the time, you may find that you're putting on fat. I've found it a number of times in my career is that I'm gaining weight even though I'm exercising at relatively high outputs. So what to do? Well, I think about it, if I've got these 3,500 sports nutrition calories, what are my 2 longest days in the week? my 2 loading days. And if you're an amateur, you might only have 1 loading day. If you're a top amateur, you've probably got at least 2 days that are longer. On those days, training's number 1. And so I want to fuel them up. So that could be anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 calories. And in the article, I use the example of 2 days with an extra 1,500 calories in them, primarily sports nutrition. What does that leave? Well, 1,500 times 2, 3,000. We got 3,500 a week minus the 3,000. I've only got 500 calories left in terms of sports nutrition. For that's for the remaining 5 days of the week. That's essentially 1 gel a day. And so that gives you an idea that you might not necessarily want to be hitting the sports drink with every single workout, just on the key days and the longer days. So get a bit of a strategy put together with it. The other thing, remember, your sports nutrition should not be part of your core nutrition strategy. To make body composition gains, to stay strong, and to develop the type of body you want your nutrition based on real food. We talked about that in the nutrition chapter, laid all that out for you in terms of how you can build a core nutrition strategy and how you can get body performance and the body composition that you're desiring by letting the training change the body over time and letting your core nutrition be what's sort of managing your weight gradually over time, because sustainable change is gradual in nature. So I hope this helps you with your sports nutrition and your overall fueling. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.